So we've just come back from a fantastic country up north in northern Europe. Weather was great, sun was shining as opposed to here, and that environment was just, I think, very good for the council members coming back together after what has been quite tough discussions lately. And you know what we had agreed in Backåkra in Sweden. Now, I think coming back to New York, it's really about how we, come back together and look at incremental steps to ensure that we, do things that really matter on the ground in Syria. Today, we have the humanitarian situation being discussed. That is still very, very poor. The implementation of 2401 is dismal. So it's time now to sort of see how we, starting with this Backåkra retreat spirit, come back together and be forceful when it comes to steps that needs to be taken on the ground. We will, try to operationalize some of the things we discussed in Sweden. There's huge worry about what's going to happen in Idlib in the south of Syria, so we'll try to focus a little bit on that today. From a 2401 cessation of hostilities and humanitarian relief perspective. We have not seen the weekly convoys that are needed in some of the hard-to-reach areas. That needs to be reinstated. There is mine action needed, including in Raqqa. There is still pending to issue visas for UN personnel that needs to be on the ground. And all of this also requires, of course, healthy financing. And as you know, there is a pledging meeting going on in Syria, in Brussels, that relates to Syria. And Sweden has, pledged almost $100 million for this year. So we just hope that others will do that kind of pledging as well. Thank you very much. No, that's still very much on the table. It's just that today the debate is on humanitarian, so we'll just see what needs to be done as an urgent first steps on the humanitarian side. The chemical weapons attribution mechanism was also discussed in Sweden. And as you saw from the statement coming out of that retreat, there is unity in terms of trying to come back together and create a credible and independent and professional mechanism. We'll continue with that work.
If the council can't agree, does Sweden think the Secretary General should step in and create some sort of
we're already in talking to him. He's offered his good offices on that, and we're back and forth with some creative ideas We've been in these impasses before, including on Iraq many years ago, and I happened to be part of that work when I was working with Hans Blix. So I know that there are, examples of how we get out of these kind of impasses, and there are some good examples of very independent and, professional mechanisms in the past. So I think there's good hope for that.
Well, Ambassador, I'm not being sarcastic, but how is this progress?
How is?
How is this progress?
How is this what progress, you mean?
This approach.
Oh, I think it's, the fact that the Council is coming back in a way to unite behind some of the pressures we need to put on Syria right now, I think that's hopefully will translate into action on the ground. Thank you very much. Oh, you'll have to ask, I have not been part of those direct negotiations, but there's no hurry. We need to take that before the 30th of April, so there's still time. Thanks.